All right, we're gonna dive into a little breakdown of the US Open men's draw. To keep this relatively quick, I'm gonna try and speed through it, but basically just used head-to-head matchup records, previous US Open history, along with records versus top 5, top 10, top 20 players, and things like that. With that being said, let's dive in. Obviously, don't really need to explain this one. Sinner's gonna move on quite a long way. Here, I like Popyrin, just historically has done better. He beat Djokovic last year here, and he's made it past the first round 4 to 5 times. Has a higher ceiling too. Like he has won a Masters 1,000. So for that reason, Alexi Royers 2-0. I don't really think whoever wins this is going to go far. Martone versus Dennis, head to heads 2-2. Shapovalov has made it past the first round 6 out of 7 times, whereas Martin is just 3 for 9. So while Shapovalov is way more inconsistent, I feel like the history just says to pick him. Very fun matchup here, Bublik versus Cilic. Cilic leads the head-to-head 3-0. However, he hasn't played the US Open since 2022. So, like, I don't know, he's obviously getting older, but he did beat Draper at Wimbledon, and he has also advanced past the first round 13 out of 14 times, whereas Bublik is just 3 out of 6. Both can be streaky. I'm going to take Bublik here because he's having a great year, but it would not surprise me in the slightest if Cilic wins this and honestly goes on a little bit of a run. Sonego slightly better here than Skulke, but I don't see really whoever wins this going any farther. Una Borges here, he's 11th, tied for 11th with Grand Slam wins this year with 9. He's good against the top 20. Like he can honestly play spoiler here in this next matchup to Tommy Paul, who's my favorite player. I don't love this matchup, but Tommy Paul will win the first round, beat Muller in Roland Garros. Continuing, Musetti is the 10 seed, and John Pericard is not obviously a favorable matchup, just not a fun player to play against. He has beaten him the 2 times that they've played before, both on grass, which should favor Pericard, to be honest. So for that reason, I like Musetti, but Musetti's not the greatest on hard courts, and it could be a tricky match for sure. Here, I like Goffin. I think Holly's is 0-4 in the first round. And yeah, it's safer plays Goffin. Brooksby versus Vukic. Brooksby's made it past the first round 3 out of 4 times. Vukic has not made it past the first round in 2 attempts. So also being in the US, we'll take Brooksby. I don't know who the qualifier is going to be, but Kobali. Love Diallo. I think he's been playing great. Could make a little bit of a run here. Zoomer has taken sets off Alcaraz, but I don't think he's that big of a threat here. I'll take Munar. Honestly, actually, I'm going to switch that up. We're going to take the qualifier. I don't know who it is, but Munar is 1 for 6 in US Open round 1 appearances. Whoever wins, that's probably going to lose to Diallo. Here, like Bergs, for the same reason. And I don't really know much about saying, might be pronouncing that incorrectly. Apologies, but yeah, Bergs is the better player. And Draper, going back, center over Popyrin. I just really don't see center being challenged. Like he's by far the best hardcore player in the world. He's unfathomably 27-1 in Grand Slams this year. It's not becoming 27, and he's not getting that second loss to Popyrin. Shapovalov here. Yeah, whoever wins that match should win whoever in the Roy or Boo match. I like Bublik here, and we're just gonna make it tricky. I said he was 11th in Grand Slam wins, but sneaky Tommy Paul is 9th in Grand Slam wins this year. And his last 5 Grand Slams, he's only lost to Alcaraz at the Wimbledon quarterfinals, Sinner at the US Open round of 4, Zverev at the Australian Open quarterfinals, Alcaraz at the Roland Garros quarterfinals, and then he lost to Offner at Wimbledon in round 2 this year, but he got injured during that match and he played through it, but he then took off a month. Yeah, really only losing elite guys. So I'm going to take Ty Paul there. Plus, he's my guy, so I gotta like Musetti here, essentially the winner of that first round matchup. And I like Kobali to get the all Italian matchup, but Brooksby's can be tricky. Diallo will win there, and Draper should win there. Let's try and finish off the quarter here. So center, just yeah, he's just moving on. Shapovalov can play big, but you're not playing that big for a best 3 out of 5. 2 out of 3 might be a different story. And here I like Tommy Paul over Bublik for the reason that he's 5-1 against them, and it's just they're good friends, and it's entertaining matchup, but Tommy has this number. As we go down here, honestly like Kobali just because I think Musetti's got a harder path to get here in the first place. And I think hard court, Solly plays better. He hits the ball a little bit bigger. And Tiala, if he puts it all together, is super dangerous, but the 3 out of 5 format's just tough. And uh, Draper is a really good player. He has missed time, so that one's a little trickier, but I do like Draper there. I'm honestly tilting right now, just thinking about it out loud. He hasn't played a competitive match since Wimbledon when he lost to Cilic, but he's got the new sponsor, the Vori, should be feeling good, rested. His serve looked good in mixed doubles too. Not that he played great at the net, but we'll go with that. Tommy Paul's 1-3 versus center. Last time they played in the round of 4 at the US Open too, and he lost 7-6, 7-6, like 6-2 or something. So you can play him close for a bit, but he's not taking 3 sets off center, unfortunately, as much as I'd like to see that happen. And I'll go with Draper here. I really think it's the winner of that Draper Diallo match will be Cabali and or Musetti, and then ultimately lose to center in that first quarter. All right, quarter number 2. Zverev, I know people are always on Zverev's case about everything, but he's a really good player, especially at hard court slams. He's made it past the first round 8 out of 9 times. Quarterfinals are better 4 times, specifically his last 4 times at the US Open. Yeah, I just don't see him losing here. He's 5-7 against top 10 players in the last 52 weeks, but 3 of those 7 losses are to Fritz, and he's not playing Fritz anytime soon, so I think he's fine. Here, I will take Batista Gut. He's made it past the first round 8 out of 11 times. Like, I'll take that sample size. Here, I like Monfils, just same type of thing. 14 out of 16 times he's made it past. Last time he lost in the first round was in 2015. Flynn hasn't lost in the first round here. He's 2 for 2, but if he's not losing since 2015, we're gonna take that. I'll take OJ Aliassim here. I don't know he's playing, but he's a good enough player. He should at least win that match. Humbert is solid on hard court, inconsistent overall, but you should win this first match against Walton. I like Kovacevic here. Yeah, I think he's sneaky good. He's 2-4 against the top 25 in the last 52 weeks. And he has Rublev's number, which he could play if he's able to beat Humbert. Like, he could make a sneaky run here. I don't know who to, like, I honestly might just take the qualifier here. I don't think Boyer is particularly great, with all due respect. Rublev here, obviously, I think he's going to win. Keep going. I like Hachinov here, but he's only 4-9 in the first round at the US Open. And then he's made the semifinals 1 time. The other times that he's won, so the other 3, he's made the second round twice and the third round once. So he hasn't particularly fared too great here over the years. So I don't think he's going to make too deep of a run. Again, that's my take, at least. I'm probably going to butcher this name, but Marzak, yeah, I think neither of these players are going to go too far, but I think he's a slightly better hardcore player. At least his hardcore ELO rating is significantly better. So we're gonna ride with that. Pedro Martinez, just a qualifier. I'm honestly gonna take the qualifier. Pedro Martinez, not a great hardcore player. Tommy Paul did not look great in his first match back, and he played Pedro Martinez and he beat him 6-1, 6-2. So yeah. Honestly, this is a great first round match. Matteo Arnaldi versus Francisco Cerundolo. And we're gonna take Arnaldi. I could really see it going either way. And I don't have a lot of justification here other than that Cerundolo's never made it past the second round. And last 2 years, Arnaldi's made it to the fourth and the third. It's 3-9 versus the top 20. So losing record, but able to win those. A little bit of upset maybe, but yeah. Don't love taking Tsitsipas because he just lost in Winston-Salem, but 3 out of 5, I'm gonna take it probably regrettably, but yeah, we'll take it and we'll move on. Here, Hedovic, might have butchered that, but pretty good on hardcourt. He has a 40th hardcourt ELO rating, and Altmaier is not phenomenal on hardcourt. And also because I'm going to take the next round, Medvedev to beat Tsitsipas since he's beat him before. He's 1-0 against them, and I just don't feel comfortable having Stefanos going any farther. Take Gaston, I don't know. And then Timonor going back up. I mean, Zverev's going to make it pretty far in this tournament, I think. And I honestly, Monfils here. Auger seems just inconsistent. Let's see, do I have a stat on how far he's made it before here? He's made the semifinals once, and he's only 3 out of 7 for making it past the first round. So, yeah, other 2 times, I don't think he's fared that great. I don't know. I don't think he's going to make it too far. Take him Bear here, but it's not super confident here. 3 out of 7 times he's made it past the first round. He's never made it past the second round. This is a favorable matchup, but I could see Kovacevic moving on. Yeah, but for this time being, we'll go with honestly, we'll switch up. We'll get a little interesting. We'll go with Kovacevic to move on there. Here, I'll take wiggling back and forth here to try and catch up to some of the stats that we've compiled. Marzak is 0-1 versus the top 20 in the last 52 weeks. Last time he's played Khachanov, he lost him in straight sets. We'll go Khachanov and Arnoldi. Hedvig is 1-0 against Tsitsipas, and I just don't trust Tsitsipas. de Minaur is so consistent, so we love that. Zverev again. He's awesome to watch. Should be a good, entertaining match, but Zverev's just player to beat. And we're gonna go with watch Kovacevic lose in the first round, but he's 2-0 against Rublev. Give me some crazy upset. There's always one that happens. We'll ride with this one. And then going back here, honestly, I think Arnoldi could lose first round, right? He's got Sorrento. That's a pretty even match. I think whoever wins that will win the next one. I think Khachanov has a safer path. With that being said, we're going to go Arnoldi. And then de Minaur doesn't lose to pretty much anybody outside the top 10. Do I have the de Minaur stat? Yeah, he's on 11 versus the top 10 in the last 52 weeks. But yeah, he pretty much just beats everybody that is below him. And that gets us to the 1/8. And yeah, Zverev's going to win that one. And de Minaur is going to win that one. I already picked the other one. Yeah, I took Sinner. Honestly, we'll go Zverev. Just for the sole fact that I just said that de Minaur doesn't beat anybody. It's boring with the 1 and the 3, but we'll see if we get something different down here at the bottom. Ooh, fun match. Djokovic versus Lerner Teen. Djokovic has never lost in the first round of the US Open, 18 out of 18 times. So obviously he's won it 4 times, runner-up 6 times, semifinals 3 times. His worst finish ever is the third round, 3 times. That's happened. Once was last year. Lerner Teen never played the US Open before, but this year he's 4-1 versus top 10 players. That's better than most players in the top 10. He's beaten Rublev, Shelton, Zverev, and Medvedev, and then he lost to Zverev at the French Open for his 1 loss. I'm gonna pick Djokovic because it's Djokovic, but I would not be surprised if this is a competitive match. And yeah, qualifier, yeah, I don't know. They're gonna lose to that winner anyways. Norrie versus Korda. Korda's had a very weird year. Norrie has 7 wins this year at slams, and he's made it past the first round 5 out of 7 times. So we're gonna take Norrie here. And I like Mickelson. He's made it past 2 out of 2 times at the US Open, where Komisana is 3-5 versus top 30 players. So wouldn't be shocked if he pulls off the upset, but Mickelson playing in front of the US crowd, I hope he can pull it out. Also, another sneaky, interesting matchup here. Tiafoe versus Nishioka. Head-to-head is 3-3. Nishioka has won the last 2 matches on hard court, and they were both in the US in 2024, which is just crazy to me that Tiafoe plays best in the US and he's lost twice. However, Nishioka's only made it past the first round 2 times in 10 attempts at the US Open. He hasn't made it past the first round since 2020. Yeah, Tim Tiafoe's had a phenomenal track record here. So we're gonna go Tiafoe, but like a little sneakier than people think. Like not a no, not a walk in the park. I'll take Blanche here. I think whoever's gonna wins that loses anyways. Same thing over here with McDonald. And then another kind of featured match here, right? Botic van de Schlamp versus Holger Rune. And Van de Schlamp obviously last year beating Alcaraz in the second round, pulling off a massive upset. And Holger Rune, sneaky, not great track record on the US Open courts. He's 1-4 in the first round, and the farthest he's made is the third round. And Van de Schlamp is 4 for 4 in the first round of the US Open. Honestly, I'm gonna take Van de Schlamp just because I think that, yeah, I don't know, I think it's cause for trouble, chaos. And I want to get a little bit more. You want some upsets in your bracket. Like Mensik, no, Yari, however you say it correctly, can be a threat and has been really good, but he's so inconsistent. And he's 1-8 against top 10 players in the last 52 weeks. The only person he beat was Holger Rune at Wimbledon. Yeah, I just think Mensik's too good for him, especially on a hard court. He won the Miami 1,000. Sigma Rosen, Fonseca should also be a good match here. Ivanovic has made it past the first round 4 to 6 times. Pretty good, but I think Fonseca like it's on his racket. And here, like Mahaj, he had regressed a little bit the last couple of weeks. I know he's been dealing with injuries and stuff too, but like I thought he was maybe going to crack into the top like 15. But yeah, we're still going to take him. Nakashima, like Ethan Quinn, think he's a fun young player, US player. Baez is not great on hard courts. So we'll take the upset here. And Fritz versus Nava should be like interesting. It'll probably be on Arthur Ashe or Louis, but Fritz is 2-0 versus Nava. And also Fritz is 8-7 versus top 10 players. And the only players he's really lost to are Alcaraz, Sinner, and Djokovic. And then those are the 6 of the 7 losses. The one other one is Shelton. He should be fine. And anyways, Baez is 0-5 versus Fritz. So Fritz is just moving on. Work our way back. Nakashima is 2-0 versus Quinn. I think that stays the same. Give me Fonseca with the upset. Mahach hasn't been playing great. Yeah, like Mensik here, like Botic, like Tiafoe. Honestly, I think Cam Norrie is just more consistent. I know he's getting older, but I feel like he shows up, and I feel like he always plays Djokovic. Like anytime I ever look at like a draw, and it's like Djokovic plays Cam Norrie in the third or fourth round. So here we go again. Djokovic again. I'll go Tiafoe. He's trying to defend the point to make the semifinals. I think it's going to run out there, but he's going to try and do his best. Give me Mensik and give me Fritz. And here I like Novak. And honestly, give me Mensik. Fritz is also trying to defend his points of making the finals, but Mensik to set up the rematch with Djokovic from the Miami finals where Mensik won in 2 tie breaks. A little rematch. Yeah, I don't know. Just something different. I don't want to have 1, 2, 3, and 4 all in the semifinals. And I know it's not a fun pick, but and he could lose first round, which is a crazy thing. But we'll take Djokovic. It's hard not to. I think he's had a great track record in slams, really only losing to the players that like Sinner and Alcaraz and Zverev from the Australian kind of injury semifinal. All right, last quarter, Shelton. I think he's got a phenomenal draw on the other side. Yeah, I don't know. Sure. Ted Thompson, weird matchup. Both are inconsistent. I feel like Ted's been better of late, but Jordan Thompson should be the better hardcourt player, but we'll go Mutat. And Manarino hasn't been good all year until the last 2 weeks, but Griekspoor is a good, solid hardcourt player. He's 1-0 versus Manarino. And yeah, this one maybe goes against the data. I don't know what it is about Manarino. I can't get behind him. Like HK here. Surprisingly, he's only made it past the first round 1 out of 3 times, but I feel like he's got the game to maybe make a run. This is a pick 'em matchup. Carabelli's 2-0 versus Echeverry, so we'll take that. Same kind of thing, pick 'em. I don't see any of these two going far. Rude's had his ups and downs outside of obviously being great on clay. Every other surface has been hit or miss, but I think he'll do well here in this first round matchup. Oof, Medvedev versus Bonzi. Medvedev, crazy weird season, and Bonzi actually leads the head-to-head 2-1. He's also made it past the first round both times he's played at the US Open, and he's 3-1 versus top 20 players in the last 52 weeks. The only loss came to Taylor Fritz, where he lost 4-6, 7-5, retired. So take that as you will. Medvedev has made it past the first round 7 out of 8 times, and obviously he's won it in 2021. Yeah, I'm gonna take Medvedev, probably regrettably, but like sneaky matchup there. I would not be shocked if Bonzi wins this because whoever wins that has a really nice draw to get to the third round. Take Navona here. Like he leads the head-to-head, and it was on hard court, and that's not his strength. But yeah, Jerome hasn't actually had great success at the US Open. Only made it past the first round 2 times in 7 attempts. Renner Knash, both of these guys have had good success in the first round at the US Open, but not making it much farther. So we'll go with that. Fokina's had a great year. I think this is a really good kind of section for him. I like Hijikata here. Darderi doesn't have a really nice hard court rating. He's won their one matchup on clay, but this isn't being played on clay, obviously. I don't really know for these matchups. I don't think it's going to matter, to be honest. Chang, and then Alcaraz Opelka. I mean, it's Alcaraz, but like you'd never really want to see Opelka in your draw. It's not a fun match, especially because he's never played Opelka before. So it's probably going to take some getting used to solve that serve, that crazy serve. So maybe loses a set, but I'd just be gassed if, like, completely shocked if Alcaraz lost, especially 3 out of 5 format. Yeah, Alcaraz is going to win that. Hijikata, sure, and then it's still not going to really matter. Alcaraz is coming out of that section. I like Fokina here. And if Medvedev wins this, I like it. I think the winner of that Medvedev-Bonzi match will cruise to the third round against Fokina. I like Ruud here. He looked well in mixed doubles, and I know that's mixed doubles, but I just don't think there's a player yet that is going to give him a problem. So Lahechka, give me Greek sport, good hardcore player. Shelton has a phenomenal draw. I like Shelton to keep moving. Shelton's had a great year. The only problem with Shelton is, let's find the stat. He is 2-15 for top 5 players. Once you get outside the top 5, it's more even, but yeah, not great against top 5 players. But doesn't have to play any of those as the 6th seed for quite a bit. I'll take Ruud here. I feel like Lahechka should be able to win this, but his track record hasn't been as good as I'd expect, and I feel like he hasn't had a phenomenal year. Like he has a ton of talent, but I'll go with Ruud. And Shelton actually has a losing record against Ruud, but they're 1-1 on hard court, and I feel like Shelton's kind of upped his game recently. I like Fokina here, and I like Alcaraz. I just don't trust Medvedev, especially since he could lose first round. Alcaraz is going to win that and set up a match with Shelton. This is where it gets really interesting, right? I just said Alcaraz is 2-15 against top 5 players, or excuse me, Shelton's 2-15 against top 5 players. Hasn't beaten Alcaraz, but I think if there's ever a time to do it, it would be now. I'll go with it. I don't think Shelton's going to win it all this year, but I think he takes that step closer. And that gets us to our finals, which will be Jannik Sinner and I don't think he has enough to take out Djokovic, which is crazy to say he takes out Alcaraz but not Djokovic. I just think Djokovic is too steady. And Sinner versus Djokovic, and as badly as Djokovic wants 25, I'm going to go with Sinner as the winner.